Everybody familiar with Uptime Elements first? Everybody use the Uptime Elements at their facility? Any people that don't use the Uptime Elements? Okay, there's a couple. So cool. I work for a company called Jones Lang LaSalle, JLL. We're a corporate real estate company. We got introduced back in 2017, 2018 to the Uptime Elements. I will tell you, I was not the first person that really grabbed it by its horns and ran with it, but I'm really glad that we've kind of come all the way to where we are today, right? So it is the backbone to everything that we do from a reliability and asset management perspective. I'm just going to take you guys through how we've used the Uptime Elements, specifically at JLL. So cool. We talk a lot about alignment of organizational objectives with what we want to do from a reliability and asset management perspective. We have a lot of things that we work in the background around our organizational commitments to our people, to our clients, to the world in general. We are like many other major corporations where we've gone out and we've claimed our sustainability initiatives, and we've made them pretty public within our annual reports, and everybody can kind of go out and see what we're aiming for. We're unique in the fact that we don't own a lot of physical assets, so our sustainability goals are really the goals that we align with our clients on to help them better manage their spaces. So we've created our asset management system specifically around sustainability, both from a green perspective as well as something that is there for the long term, right? The actual program itself. Corporate responsibility is very important for us. Again, a lot of what we do is on behalf of our clients. So when we are able to do something that supports their corporate sustainability goals and their responsibilities to their larger environments in which they work and operate in, it's really great for us to be able to leverage those same outcomes. So, again, organizationally, when we talk about asset management in general, we want to make sure that we're aligned from our organizational objectives. So yesterday, we were presented with an award. You saw our two people that were out of uniform, our Chief Operating Officer and our Global COE lead. When we talk about organizational objectives within our Work Dynamics business, the ones that directly support our clients, these are the four things that we're really focused on, right? Reducing risk from a client's perspective, from an operational perspective. We want to optimize costs, right? From both the resources that we put on the ground as well as total cost for our clients. We really want to drive quality, both of the service delivery, the technician skill set, whatever that outcome is that we're providing. And then obviously the cutting of carbon, right? How do we use the asset management activities and routines that we generate and implement to really kind of drive some of those initiatives? So we've understood reduce risk, optimize costs, improve quality, and cut carbon. Those are the overall Work Dynamics organizational goals and objectives. So now you see how we kind of tied or cross-tied those to what we do from an asset management routine. Does that make sense to everybody? Direct line of sight, align organizational objectives to asset management activities and outcomes. Cool. So you got to document everything, right? We talk about strategies and plans. We talk about creating this umbrella of asset management. We have a policy out there. It's on the screen. You guys can read it. You can see, when you get the presentation, download it. If you want a better version, I'm more than happy to share some of the details of what we worked into it. But it's written in a way that it's both serving to our clients as well as to our internal people or those assets that we have internal to our organization. Again, like I said, we don't own a lot of physical assets. So the assets that we do maintain are on behalf of the clients, but we've worked the people part of it into the actual policy as well. But like I said, now that you've got this umbrella, you got your strategic asset management plan, you got your asset management policy, now creating the strategies and plans, documenting all of that content, things like preventive maintenance optimization, how we onboard our reliability engineers, how we collect data and validate data in the field, all that stuff is documented, right? So you got the umbrella and then you get the strategies and plans. So again, we don't create widgets. We don't put something out the end of an assembly line. We don't generate power. We don't do a lot of things that make us money. The things that make JLL as an organization profitable is being able to provide an operational continuity for business operations at a particular client, right? We run large buildings. So if you think of, soda companies that make soda, or power generation utilities that output power to a grid, or, car manufacturers that put something out the end of the assembly line, it's really different. So operational context, making sure that we are able to kind of tell our story, data is huge for us, right? So everything that we do, we'll go through and build dashboards, KPIs. We'll really give some sort of performance metric to the output of that. One of our largest outputs that we feel is the data for people to make informed decisions on how they manage their assets, right? So really important for us, understanding all the asset data, making sure that we have asset data in the system. Jennifer Jordan was here yesterday talking about that, of how we actually perform asset validation in the field, all into event to enable the other reliability functions, right? PM optimization, root cause analysis, capital asset renewal, all those different systems that are eventually going to get you to continuous improvement or decision making. We got plenty of time, it looks like. So again, making sure that we can think long-term. Again, the business of JLL is typically 3 to 5 year contracts. So there's two ways that we think about things, right? We think about it from the confines of the contract, operationally performing to drive operational costs within that contract. But then the biggest opportunity from a reliability perspective is to drive total cost of ownership for the clients, thinking more long-term. So we think in two different mindsets. One, drive operational efficiencies within a short period, but then two, enable the long-term decision-making for those clients. So for us, creating a place that we can go and understand all of those different data points, look at forecasting, prioritization, depreciation, benchmarks across portfolios, whether it's internally to one client across many, creating that data for decision-making and enabling that decision to be made is pretty important for us and our clients. Continuous improvement is a big part of where my team focuses, and maybe we can kind of back up for 1 second. So we have a team of dedicated on-account reliability engineers. They're focused on delivering different reliability and asset management solutions for whatever client that they're tied to. One of the biggest things that we do is we go out and we do what we call an opportunity assessment for the reliability function. So we'll go out there and benchmark or baseline every given account that we work with, whether it's at a site level, portfolio level, really to understand where they have the ability to improve. And we create a roadmap for them to be successful in that space. So coming out here, we're going to look at all the different pieces, right? So we look at, performance, development capabilities, integration, smart buildings, all the different things that revolve around our space. And we put it on a chart and we look at that gap. That gap and roadmap then creates the project plan for implementation for how we're going to get to steady state. And then as we build out, we continue to refine this chart or this summary, and then we'll build in additional continuous improvement loops for our processes. So key takeaways, we got a lot of presentations today, so we'll get right down to it. Most important thing for us is align whatever you're going to do from an asset management perspective to your organizational goals. Again, JLL is interesting because we work with a lot of different clients. We write a lot of different strategic asset management plans for our different installations. Everybody's a little bit different, but everybody's really working towards the same goal. So make sure that you know what your organizational goals are. Go to your annual reports, get your information from your key stakeholders, make sure you can take that into context and figure out how do you, from an asset management perspective, support those activities through the work that you do. This is fundamental, right? But you want to make sure that everybody understands when you set off that plan and you understand and align those organizational goals to your activities, what are those goals that you're going to have for the individual, and make sure that they're working towards them. We've, right, wrong, or indifferent, over the years have been not as good as in this place. And I think it's really important to get it right early and make sure you take those people on the journey with you. Because when you don't get those people on board early, you got that resistance, and then it's a little bit tougher to course correct as you go further down the line. Build and document processes for everything that you do, right? You want to enable the goals that you have. We talked a lot about tacit knowledge over the last couple of days. You got a lot of people out there doing a lot of different things. People got their notebooks in their pockets. we're in a time where there's going to be a large exodus from the workforce, right? We want to make sure that we bring all that information back in, make sure it's fully documented, and we're able to take this for the long term. So documenting your processes is super important. Quality data, I think everybody knows about that. We had the conversation yesterday with Jennifer about making sure that you understand where you are today, right? There's a lot of data out there. I don't think anybody's data is perfect, but go through and really understand at the end of the day, what do you want to use that data for? What decisions do you want to enable? And do the gap assessment across those two pieces. Then understand what that implementation looks like to get that to a place where you feel confident in the data that you're using. The age-old homage, garbage data in and garbage data out. You're trying to make long-term decisions off this data set. It's got to be quality. And then long-term, right? I think a lot of people focus on shorter terms versus seeing the real future. I know within JLL, our accounts are hyper focused on year to year, right? 3 to 5 years. We're working within a constraint. We have a contract with a client. We have cost savings activities that we're trying to drive. From a reliability perspective, where we put a dedicated on-account reliability engineer tied to a platform, it's kind of that separation, right? So you got the guy that's operationally looking short term, and then you got the guy or gal that's thinking a little more strategic and longer term. Make sure you have that function there, right? Everybody gets caught in the day-to-day. We got a lot of maintenance engineers and firefighters out there. Making sure that we have that long-term focus is critical. And then do what you do and do the best you can, right? Be relentless. Continuous improvement is a huge thing of what we do. Nobody's going to be perfect right out of the gate. Be okay with standing stuff up that's 80, 90%, and then figure out how to reiterate over time and make it the best that you can. So that's a little bit about what we do at JLL. That's kind of our program and approach. Any questions?
I'll ask a nice question and you can return the favor later. But, I'm curious on the CapEx forecasting and spending. So is the client, your clients are responsible for that? Is that right?
What part of it?
You're part of it. Okay.
I'm sorry. I was asking what part of it. So,
I'm curious about your process, because you don't, from what listening to you don't necessarily have the responsibility to maybe implement the capital improvement?
Depends on the client. So there's some clients that will work from beginning to end. We'll work through the ingestion of the data, the asset validation, conditional assessments, criticality. We'll develop all the forecasting prioritization. We'll do the asset valuations. We'll develop and package the projects. We'll actually implement them into a capital planning software. And then we have a group within JLL called Project Delivery Services, which would then be kind of a handoff from the maintenance side to the PM side. And they'll take that all the way through implementation. We have some clients that we just provide them a data set. Hey, here's our forecast recommendations prioritization schedule. Here, take that on, and they'll go back off and kind of do it in a silo. And then you know how that works, right? So it really depends on the client and the application.